All right, if you're in the transport business or you manage a fleet, you already know some challenges are just, well, they're part of the job. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest ones, that constant nagging headache of tire management.
So, when you look at a tire, what do you really see? It's so easy to just dismiss it, right? To see it as just another consumable, another line item on the balance sheet. But the reality is, for any fleet, your tires are one of your biggest investments and a totally critical operational asset. Managing them properly isn't just about maintenance, it's about protecting that investment.
And that kind of brings us to a problem that pretty much every single person in the transport industry understands on a gut level. It's a challenge that, it hides in plain sight, just quietly draining resources from fleets of all shapes and sizes. This quote, yeah, this really hits the nail on the head. It doesn't matter if you're a driver, a mechanic, or the fleet manager. This is a daily reality. Trying to track every single tire from the second it shows up in your inventory to the day it gets scrapped, it's just a massive, incredibly complex task. So what happens when we try to manage all that complexity with old school methods? Well, the chaos has a real, tangible cost. Let's take a look at what happens when the traditional, manual way of doing things really starts to fall apart. You see how these things just feed into each other. A simple manual error on a spreadsheet, and suddenly a tire is lost in the system. That lost tire might actually be stolen, and that's a direct hit to your bottom line. Then, when you try to make a warranty claim, your messy records mean that claim gets disputed or just flat out denied. And if you can't properly document your scrapped tires, you have no real idea what your operational costs actually are. It's just a cycle of constant financial leaks. Ultimately, the old system, the clipboards, the endless spreadsheets, the paper logs, it just doesn't cut it anymore. It's slow, it's so vulnerable to human error, and it leaves your most valuable assets completely exposed. It promises control, but really it just delivers confusion. But what if there was a better way? What if you could just swap all that guesswork for actual certainty? The chaos for clarity. What if you could gain total, real-time control over every single tire in your fleet? This is where we make the turn from the problem to the solution. See, the answer isn't about working harder with those old, clunky tools. It's about adopting a much smarter approach through digital transformation, one that's designed specifically for the challenges of managing tires. The core idea here is really simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Instead of having all your information scattered across different bits of paper, different spreadsheets, and random files, you bring everything into one single unified digital platform. This is where every piece of data gets connected and becomes instantly accessible to everyone who needs it. And that platform is the Tyre service from eFleet Systems. It's a solution that was built from the ground up to solve these exact problems. Think of it like the central nervous system for your entire tire inventory. And here's how it connects the entire operation. You've basically got two parts working in perfect sync. In the office, the business user has the web application to see the big picture, inventory, claims, all the reports. Meanwhile, out in the yard, the field inspector is using a mobile app to capture real-time data right from the vehicle. The office and the field are finally speaking the same language, instantly. So, how does this actually give you that total control we were talking about? Okay, let's break down the process and really see how the system tracks a tire through its entire life. What this system does is build a complete digital story for every tire. It starts the moment a tire arrives and gets logged in. When it's assigned to a truck, that's tracked. Every single inspection out in the field captures crucial data. And at the very end of its life, whether it's part of a warranty claim or it's just being sent for scrap, that whole event is documented with full accountability. No more gaps, no more question marks. I mean, this comparison really says it all, doesn't it? The old way was all guesswork. The new way gives you full visibility. Where information used to just get lost, you now have instant data and reporting. Where your inventory was totally vulnerable, you now have total accountability. And those painful disputed claims, they get replaced by secure, indisputable digital records. It's a total game changer. And let's just focus on the power of that mobile app for a second. An inspector isn't just ticking a box. They are capturing critical, actionable data. They can measure tread depth to predict wear and make sure things are safe, check air pressure to optimize your fuel efficiency, and even report mechanical defects that could cause a tire to fail way too early. This isn't just tracking inventory anymore. This is proactive fleet management. So, what does all this mean for the road ahead? Well, it means we can fundamentally change the nature of the work. We can transform a point of constant stress into a source of real operational strength.
What this really represents is a complete shift. It's a move away from the chaos of paperwork and into the calm of digital control. It's about finally turning that daily headache into a streamlined, efficient, and frankly, cost-effective part of your business.
And that brings us to the final question, the one that really matters. When you look at your own operations, your own challenges, and the potential for a better way, is your fleet ready to leave the headache behind and take a smarter road ahead?